Struggling to help your teen son manage anger, frustration, or big emotions? Emotional intelligence, or EQ, plays a major role in how boys handle stress, relationships, school, and life. Today we're breaking down why EQ matters for teen boys and sharing 4 practical ways to build emotional strength so your son can grow into a confident, resilient young man. Welcome to Raising Boys with Purpose, a Christian parenting podcast for moms raising teens and young adult sons. I'm Brooke, a boy mom and parenting coach, and here we talk about raising sons, building character, and preparing our boys for adulthood with confidence and faith. We've all been there. The kids are annoying each other, voices are rising, and before you know it, there's yelling, finger pointing, and a whole lot of emotions flying around the room. Or maybe your son just hits a wall with something that just feels too hard. Schoolwork, sports, even friendships. And he just wants to give up. In those moments, it's easy to get frustrated or just jump right in to fix things. But what if instead we use those moments to help our sons learn emotional strength? How to stay calm, manage their frustration, and keep going when things get tough. That's what today's episode is about, building your son's emotional intelligence, or EQ. Because emotional strength isn't something boys just grow into. It's something they learn, one experience at a time. Today's episode doesn't come from just one big event. It comes from a collection of little moments that happen over years of raising boys. Because sometimes we don't realize what lessons our sons need until life gives us the opportunity to teach them. Life can be hard and unpredictable. As moms, we naturally want to protect our sons from pain, but we can't shield them from everything. What we can do is teach them how to respond when life doesn't go as planned. A few years ago, my husband faced a situation at work that tested his integrity. Some things were happening that he just felt were unethical, and after praying and talking it over, we agreed he needed to leave. At the time, one of our boys was in college and money was tight. It wasn't an easy decision to make. We sat our sons down and explained what was happening, that this was going to be a tough season, but we were in it together. Over the next several months, they watched their dad hustle in ways they had never seen before. He picked up consulting jobs that didn't have benefits, and he drove Uber late at night when the pay was best. And he did whatever it took to keep our family afloat. They also watched me stand beside him, tightening our budget, praying together, and encouraging one another through the stress. It wasn't just his job that was gone. Our whole family felt that loss together. And in that process, our boys learned some powerful lessons about perseverance, humility, teamwork, and emotional strength. They saw what it means to face hardship with faith and integrity. And they learned that when one person in the family struggles, everyone steps up. That's what emotional intelligence looks like in the real world. Staying grounded, managing emotions, and showing strength through hard seasons. As we walk through these next 4 steps to build EQ, we're focusing on exactly that, helping our sons grow into young men who can not only survive in the world, but thrive, overcome challenges, and lead with both strength and heart. We've all faced challenges in life, and as moms, our first instinct is to protect our sons from them. But the truth is, we can't shield them from every hardship. What we can do, though, is use those moments to teach them how to face adversity with strength, courage, and faith. Romans 5:3 says, "Suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope." Because life will be hard sometimes. And those hard moments are the very opportunities that shape our boys into the strong, resilient young men God designed them to be. So today we're going to talk about how to help our sons not just get through challenges, but grow through them, building the emotional strength they'll need to overcome obstacles and succeed in life. Let's start with step 1, understanding what EQ is and why it matters. EQ, or emotional intelligence, is your son's ability to recognize, understand, and manage his own emotions. And also to recognize and respond to the emotions of others. It's the foundation for how he handles frustration, how he builds relationships, and how he makes decisions. When my husband quit his job, it became a real life lesson in emotional intelligence for our whole family. We all had to navigate feelings of fear, frustration, and uncertainty. As parents, we needed to stay calm and in tune with one another so that our boys didn't feel overwhelmed. And our sons needed to recognize that we were under pressure too, that sometimes mom and dad need a little extra grace. Learning to recognize, understand, and manage those emotions helped us move through that season without really becoming stuck in worry. It strengthened our communication, deepened our empathy, and showed our boys what emotional strength looks like in action. That's why EQ matters so much. It's not just about staying calm in the moment. It's about equipping our sons with the emotional tools they need to face life's challenges, with wisdom, resilience, and grace. Step 2 is all about relationships, because emotional intelligence shows up most clearly in how we treat others. James 1:19 says, "Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." That one verse gives us such a simple but powerful blueprint for building healthy relationships. When we're quick to listen, we take time to truly hear the other person, to recognize and understand their emotions instead of just reacting to them. When we're slow to speak, we give ourselves space to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. And when we're slow to anger, we practice self-control, something our boys need to see modeled every single day. Relationships aren't always easy, whether it's a sibling arguing, a friendship misunderstanding, or even tension within our families. Every one of those moments is an opportunity for our boys to practice EQ, to manage their emotions, to communicate better, and to build connection instead of conflict. During the season when my husband was unemployed, we had plenty of chances to put this into practice. Fear and frustration were powerful emotions in our house. As spouses and parents, we had to recognize those feelings in ourselves and in our boys. Because when we're stressed, it's easy to snap, to get short, or misread each other. By paying attention to what we're all feeling, we could each speak to the problem, not react to the emotion. That's what made all the difference. It taught our boys that understanding someone's emotions can actually prevent conflict, and that empathy and patience build stronger relationships than anger ever will. Now, step 3 is all about how emotional intelligence shows up in school and eventually in the workplace. Because let's be honest, both can be pressure cookers. Whether it's trying to meet deadlines, juggling responsibilities, or handle competition, school and work environments can bring out the best and the worst in us. For our sons, these are the places where they'll get some of their first real life lessons in managing pressure, motivation, and relationships. When it comes to school, one of the biggest challenges is learning self-motivation. Our boys need to develop the ability to stay focused and disciplined, even when they don't see the results, especially in a world that's all about instant gratification. But teaching them to keep going, to push through frustration, and to take ownership of their goals, that's emotional strength in action. Another huge part of EQ is recognizing and managing emotions. You know that moment when you ask, "How was your day?" And your son says, "Fine," but you can tell it wasn't fine? That's where EQ begins, helping our sons tune into what they're really feeling. When we help them identify their emotions and talk about them, we teach them how to handle disappointment, stress, and even success in a healthy way. And finally, let's talk about social skills. Some boys pick them up easily, while others really need to work at it. But being able to relate to people, to listen, communicate, and show respect is one of the strongest indicators of future success. Your son could be brilliant, creative, and full of great ideas. But if he can't communicate or connect well, life will be harder than it has to. Helping him build those social and emotional skills now will not only make school and work more manageable, it'll give him the confidence to step into adulthood, prepared, grounded, and ready to lead. Now, step 4 is about how emotional intelligence helps our sons show up in the world. And one of the best ways to do that is through serving others. God calls us to serve because service is love in action. Philippians 2:13 reminds us, "For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose." When we serve, we reflect God's heart, not for recognition, but because it's who he's shaping us to be. So what does serving look like for our sons? And how does EQ play a role? True service means helping others without expecting anything in return. It might be simple, everyday actions, helping a teammate, encouraging a friend, or being kind to someone who feels left out. Or it might mean stepping into bigger responsibilities that require, sacrifice and humility. When our boys grow in EQ, when they learn self-awareness, empathy, and social awareness, they begin to see the needs of others and respond with compassion. That's emotional intelligence at work. I saw this on my husband during that hard season when he left his job. Even though it was humbling, he continued to serve our family. He took on jobs that weren't in his field. He worked late hours and did whatever it took to provide for us. And he didn't let pride get in the way of purpose. That spoke volumes to our sons. They saw that real strength isn't about status. It's about service. And that's exactly what we want for them. To become men who lead with empathy, humility, and a willingness to serve others for God's glory. So, Mama, if you've ever wondered how to help your son handle his emotions, connect better with others, and grow into a strong and godly young man, I hope these 4 steps to building emotional intelligence gave you, some practical encouragement today. Developing emotional intelligence, it doesn't happen overnight. But every conversation, every challenge, and every moment of grace adds up. The rewards for you and your son are lifelong. EQ is one of the best gifts we can give them as they grow into confident, strong, and compassionate men who live out God's purpose. If this episode of Raising Boys with Purpose encouraged you, please like this video and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of this podcast. And if you're raising a teen or young adult son and want encouragement and practical guidance, come join us in the Raising Boys with Purpose Facebook community. The link is below. Thanks for being here today. Now grab your iced coffee, hug your son, and remember, you're raising him with purpose.